Year 2 of this thing, and it is still going strong. I'm so happy that VR is here to stay, and my god, I love it. Now, speaking of 2018 and VR games, I can only really talk about the actual games that came out on the PSVR due to the fact it's only hardware I own, but just in general, wow, 2018 was amazing for just anything virtual reality. It was just amazing to see the amount of games that came out, and quality games too. But yeah, before we get to the actual list, I'm a bit of a pickle here. So I made an anniversary video for this of the top 10 games that came out in the first year, and that was October 13th, 2016 to 2017. Well, if I only focus on 2018 games now, I kind of miss out on 2 months of games. So screw that. This list is going to consist of year 2. So essentially anything came out between October 13th, 2017 up till now. Got it? Got it. Okay, other stipulations, the game's got to be fully playable in VR, no VR modes. I mean, GT Sport, good on you for, updating your VR mode. It's actually, pretty good now, but that's all it is. Just a mode. It's not a full-on game experience, it's just a side mode. Still good. But yeah, regardless, let's get to it. Here's my top 10 PSVR games of 2018/year 2. Now, this game is decent at best, but it is still a great PSVR game due to the fact that the move controllers work flawlessly, gameplay-wise. I mean, movement's fantastic. It gives you the option to, warp an actual free move, and turning is great, and just the overall action is great. I mean, dual-wielding weapons or just boxing your enemies to death is just a freaking thrilling fun time. But on top of all that, it makes you feel like a badass. Top that off with a pretty decently long single-player experience, but also a highly replayable survival mode. And yeah, you're going to be playing this for a while. The only gripe I really have with it is that I really wish it had more content. But seeing as how that it's always on sale, I mean, it's a definite good pickup, and a damn good experience for a couple hours. Even though, you'll probably be playing it a little longer than that. This should have been a dumpster fire. I mean, no multiplayer, no DLC, pretty much stripping away a lot of, huge elements that made the original game good. And yet, it works. I mean, the gameplay is solid. The new BAMF mode, which is pretty much bullet time mode, is a welcome addition, and just the cel-shaded graphics look glorious in VR. Yes, it's a stripped down version, and it's possibly, yes, the worst way to play this game. But if you're not focusing on the fact that, you're playing Borderlands 2 again, and it's either your first time, or you're just stoked on the fact that you're actually playing it in VR, and you want to get immersed in the world, then this is for you. It is huge, it's action-packed, it's fun, there's tons of content, even without the DLC, and it is just a hilarious, great action-packed romp. I mean, whichever character you use. Either you're using the freaking Katana character or the dual wielding, it's just phenomenal. It feels great and it's just so much fun. Yes, this should have had aim support from day one, but the fact that developers are, listening to, the actual players is a good sign. Multiplayer may not happen, but the DLC could, and aim support, well, better damn happen, because if this game had aim support, you bet your ass this game would be much higher on this list. This game reminds me a lot of like Zombie U because of its, roguelike survival horror aspects. And I did not expect it to work so well in VR. I mean, yes, throw in a Dead Space style, spaceship in the middle of, stranded in the middle of nowhere, and a creepy ass vibe with just tons of just enemies just lurking around. I mean, this game just makes you feel on edge. It's a tense and just enthralling. And with, the roguelike elements, it just feels, like every single death matters, everything just has weight to it. And thankfully the content is not slim, is not small in this one. It has a lengthy campaign, and thankfully, due to updates, this game just has much more modes now, whether you want to play the game harder or just survival modes. It's just a freaking great great experience. As far as horror games go in VR, this is one of the finest crafted ones. And with this developer, I cannot wait to see what they do next. Tetris Effect is an actual mental disorder where a person either just focuses on something so much that it just starts to envelop every single aspect of their lives. That's exactly what this game feels like, because once you put the headset on and play this game, you are just enthralled by the visuals. And as a person who's a moderate fan of Tetris, I've never been a diehard fan like other people. I mean, I can play up to a certain point, but I'm not going to ever master and, you know, play the game on like extreme settings and stuff. But it doesn't matter, because no matter who you are, no matter how many times you've played it, even if it's the first time you're ever playing it, this is the greatest way to play Tetris ever. And my god, is it just a perfect package. I mean, tons of content, so many modes and so many songs and so many different ways to the visuals definitely change over time, and like I love how the gameplay is actually, you know, matched with the actual beat of the song that you're currently playing. Everything is just so interconnected and so awe-inspiring that it honestly feels like you're starting to suffer from this mental disorder that, you know, Tetris is named after. But in a weird way, I don't hate it. I love the feeling that, you know, something so beautiful and something so simple can just intertwine into this perfect game. Tetris Effect is fantastic, and I'm happy you can play it without the PSVR helmet, but with the VR helmet is the best way to experience it, because the immersion, while you don't feel like you're there, it definitely puts you in a really cool trance-like mindset. And I absolutely adore it. What a delightful little platformer. I mean, this one, I honestly didn't expect too much of it. I mean, with games like Moss and, you know, this one coming out, like a platformer in VR, like that doesn't really appeal to me. But the immersion in this one's really, really good. I mean, you're playing a giant pretty much in the world of these little astrobots, and you're supposed to help them, you know, you're supposed to save them. And I haven't felt this way, like the whimsical feeling of playing like a platformer, since like Ape Escape. Like, this brought me back to my roots. Like, I felt like a kid again. And it was just really, really well implemented in, you know, in a VR, you know, space. You know, using your actual head, you know, shaking off, you know, like slime when it gets thrown into your face. It's just, it really puts you in there, and it's just a fun little experience. I completely understand why people, you know, this game is their favorite game of VR, because it taps into like your inner childhood. While at the same time, it also tapped into my, you know, like fight or flight mode, because hearing the little, you know, little astrobots like saying, "Help me, help me," made me really care for them. It was weird. I was like, "No, buddy, I'm gonna come. I'm coming. I'm coming." It's like, it was weird. Every design choice, sound, or visual is just on point, and I just love it. There's nothing you can really hate about this game. You just love every moment of it, and it's just a fun, cutesy, just delightful damn game, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. I mean, it's a lot of content, you know, also in here, because as you know, platformers go, this one's pretty well stocked. The Rogue One X-Wing mission is still probably my favorite experience in all of VR, and, you know, I want more of Star Wars. Sadly, you know, Battlefront 2 didn't give us that, but, you know, I always wanted to, you know, just use a lightsaber in VR. Didn't expect it to be this way. Beat Saber is a rhythm game where you're essentially, you have two lightsabers, and you're supposed to strike in the direction of whatever the, you know, it's DDR. DDR, Guitar Hero, doesn't matter, whatever the hell game you're used to, it's a rhythm game. And it's a full body experience, because not only are you hitting these little cubes that are coming at you in certain, you know, directions, you also have to dodge huge walls, duck under. It is crazy, and it's just, a really heart-pounding good time. I mean, it is fun, the music is fantastic, the visuals are great, and it's just simple fun. And in many people's eyes, this is a VR killer app. And I understand that completely. Because while it doesn't get you immersed in like this whole nother world, you definitely want to keep going. And whatever's driving you in those moments when you're just listening to the song and you're just, going to the beat, it's just a great feeling. The same with Tetris Effect, but in this case, you're definitely up and moving. So the immersion, yeah, I guess, is pretty sky high with this one. So yeah, I recommend it 100%, and it doesn't matter whether you play it on PC or PSVR, this is a game that you're going to want to experience as soon as possible. How does this work so well? In order to play this game, all you gotta really do is just the Running Man. A very fast-paced, vigorous version of the Running Man. And yet, it's one of the best PSVR games I've ever played in my life. I mean, it's fast-paced, it's immersive, and just one hell of a workout. I mean, this game will start to make you sweat. This is ridiculous, and it's so good. And it's not just because, you're out there, you're working around, or you're just seeing the world around you. The basic fundamentals is that it's like a, an extreme sports game, like in the same vein as, like aggressive inline or Tony Hawk, but it's a racer with kart racing elements, like you pick up, bonuses and you can actually use them, this is the best way that I can describe it. It is a kart racer where you're literally just skating. And yes, while, Kart Racer VR does exist, that is not good. This is the best way, at least this is the closest we've ever seen to an actual Mario Kart VR game outside of the arcade. So, yeah. I recommend this highly to anyone who just likes extreme sports, Mario Kart, surprisingly, or just anyone who just really wants to get a good workout in VR. Because all three of those boxes are checked right here. And my god, it is a great and literally heart-pounding good time. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed to the fact that the aim controller doesn't have that many games for it. But seeing as how I have Firewall, I'm completely fine with that. Because whether you're a fan of, Counter-Strike or Rainbow Six Siege or just any shooter in general, this is the quintessential shooter for all VR systems. Tense battles, great teamwork, and just everything about this is just phenomenal. The immersion is some of the best of any game on the PSVR, and that's thanks to the aim controller. Once again, it is a phenomenal peripheral, and this is proof positive that this thing should be supported even more than it already is. And you know what? Even if you don't own the aim controller, with the DualShock 4, this is still one of the greatest shooters ever made due to the fact that, yeah, it's just the Rainbow Six clone, but in VR. And screw it, I'm happy with that. Because as far as things go, the aim controller only really needs support for this one game and this one game only, because this alone makes the whole thing worth it. The whole reason why I made that whole fuss about, having to just implement the last 2 months of last year into this year was because of this game. Skyrim VR is easily one of the greatest experiences in VR, pretty much bar none. Besides, being a complete version of Skyrim itself, having all the DLC, the move controller support and the DualShock 4 support is just spot on. Everything about the original game translates so beautifully in VR, and it is just a fantastic experience. And yes, in some people's eyes, this can be seen as the worst way to experience this game, but if you're a fan of VR or virtual reality or just immersion in general, because this game really gets you immersed in it, in the world, around you, in my eyes, it's the best way to play it, because Skyrim is fantastic on its own, but it being in VR is just a whole nother story entirely. Yeah. If you don't own this already, get it any way you can. It is the best way, at least in my eyes, to play this game.
Yes!
This is an old game, comprised of 3 older games. This is the compilation disc of just 3 classic Wipeout games, at least nowadays. And yet it's the best one in VR. Just out of thin air, we just got a VR update for this thing this year, and holy shit, I never knew how much I needed this in my life. The series Wipeout is already a fast-paced, great racer in its own right. But in VR, it is mind-bendingly fast. The visuals are the best I've seen in VR. There's little to no compromises here. The gameplay is still just as great as ever. Every single movement, every single race, every single thing you do in this game is just glorious in VR. And it's not really just a testament to how great this game is, because yes, while Wipeout is fantastic, and my god, this just pretty much just makes me believe that this is the perfect series to be implemented in VR. It makes me think, why aren't more games doing this? Just try. Old games are out there. There's tons and tons of old games. And while, brand new VR games is a great thing, to just look forward to and actually, implement, developers, if you want your games to have a second life, literally just update it to support VR. And this is the crowning freaking example of how well this can work. And again, no compromises. Nothing. It's an old game now. But with VR, it's got a whole brand new life, and it is just perfect. Well, that's the list. Now, just want to talk about VR for a second. And not just PSVR, but just VR in general. It's here to stay. And, I understand some people can't really experience it or, really enjoy it due to the fact that, motion sickness and, eye strain and stuff like that, which I get 100%, But people who are just naysayers and who've never tried it before, kindly shut the hell up and just do it. Try it out for yourself and you'll understand why this thing is just so well loved by many. It's not just because you want to escape from our, horrible lives, which is a plus, but, I don't really mind. The world's actually fine with me. But it's the fact that, we get to just see brand new world where we would never be able to experience. I mean, in the past, people would look to the future like, you imagine having, this VR headset. You don't want to, spend a lot of money on traveling, but you want to just travel to other worlds. Well, it's here. It's finally here, and it's actually a commercial-grade product, and it's fantastic. It's not perfect yet, by any means, but the more we support it, the more it's going to get better and better, and my god, this year just proved that in many ways. And I don't know, man. I get it. For, movies, it's very limited, and also limited. For movies, it's very limited, and for overall experience, it's decent, especially YouTube videos and stuff like that. But for video games, I mean, it's perfect. And whether you're playing, brand new games that, just came out for the system, brand new games that just came out, for the system this year, or old games that are pretty much being, just messed around with and just edited to pretty much work in VR, you got a lot of content, future and past. It's all gonna just be better in VR. And whether it's racing games, platformers or shooters, there are so many things for everyone to enjoy. And I just can't fucking keep talking about PSVR. I'm sorry, I keep rambling, but damn it. I want VR to succeed, and thankfully it is, at least in this point in time. I'm just hoping support is there, the love is there, and just keep supporting VR. This year proves it, bar none, that it's gonna keep getting better and better. But, yeah. Now looking to the future, I don't know what to expect. I mean, there's definitely some great games coming on the horizon, but I can only imagine what the next systems like PS5 and Xbox 2, I guess, are going to be, or how they're going to be implementing VR. Because with 4K screens, It's gonna get so much better. But yeah, regardless, that's the video. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.